If I could get enough signatures for a petition to never play another game in Anaheim, how many of you would sign up for that? Because I think there'd be more. I think there'd be plenty of us that would be willing to do that. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome in to the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. The Mariners losing 10 innings last night to the Angels 3-2. They fall to 55-49 on the year. 5 games back in the AL West. A game clear of the wild card spot. Kind of tricky because they do have a team in between them. So they're a game up, but cleared by a team, if that makes sense, because Mariners are in the second wild card spot. Before I go any further, as always, hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to comment your thoughts on the team and the game down below. Yeah, I mean, Anaheim has just been a house of horrors for the Mariners, and I don't get it. Like, certainly not a bad Angels team. There's talent. That offense is actually pretty decent. And Soriano and Kikuchi, who pitched last night, are good pitchers. When you face those teams with their top starters going, they become more dangerous for sure. But man, out of the last 8 times the Mariners have lost in that ballpark, 7 have been by 1 run. I swear in the last 2 years, they've had 5 or 6 walk-off losses in that park. It has just been a place where, I'm now dreading it, right? Like each series I go and go, okay, we're kind of due to win one there. And they just cannot find a way. I mean, could still win this series, obviously, but man, just some frustrating losses. And we can talk about playing the Angels being frustrated, but again, a lot of self-inflicted wounds from the Mariners, right? Oh, for whatever with runners in scoring position, not just yesterday, but this series. Mariners do not have a hit with runners in scoring position. I touched on it yesterday. Home runs are great, right? Like, please keep hitting home runs. Home runs are amazing. They hit 2 yesterday thanks to Julio Rodriguez. But man, this team, and I hate being like a little things person because I think it's cliche. I think everybody talks about, this team just doesn't do the little things correct. And everybody thinks that about their team. It's, not picking up a 3rd and 1 in football going, see, that's why we're not good. Every team does sometimes not get 3rd and 1s. Every team gives up 3rd and 20s. Every team strikes out with a runner at 3rd and less than 2 outs. But man, I can't avoid the cliches with this team because it's kind of there. Like just opportunities where they don't need to hit a bomb and just, a grounder to first and then a little blooper that gets through and you'd have a couple runs on the board. Soriano threw the ball well yesterday. I'm not that mad that they only put up the 2. Very impressive that Julio hits 2 home runs against Soriano. He'd only given up 5 home runs all season, and he gives up 2 in the same game to the same player. What drove me nuts was the 10th inning. It really did. That, to me, was just that your top 3 have got to be better. JP, Julio, and Cal have to come through in that situation, and I swear they have not in an extra inning game. Mariners are 7-9 in extra inning games. And I was talking with Mariner Sir yesterday. And we're like, it feels like they're 3-15. I think because every extra inning game is such a grind with this team. When they do win, it's like they just squeak out a run and then the pitching gets the 3 outs or something in the 12th and something like that. I mean, you should be in good shape there. The Angels had the bottom of their order in the bottom half of the 10th. You had the top of the order in the top half. That's a game you should find a way. The Angels' top relievers had been used. Kenley Jansen, Reed Detmers, Brock Burke. Zephyr John's, I think, better than his numbers. But, man, you've got to get a run in that situation, guys. Like, and maybe 1 run doesn't win the game there, but it probably extends it, at least bides you another inning, and it gives Naylor, Randy, and Polo a chance in the 11th inning. So frustrating. I don't mind JP bunting in the 10th inning there. I know that's going to be controversial. I don't necessarily have a problem with the bunt. I don't love it because when you're on the road, bunting is usually an indication you're playing for 1 run. Because then they probably would have maybe walked Julio. I mean, bases loaded, 1 out for Cal is not the worst thing ever. But Cal's been scuffling even a little bit too. But bunting is usually a play for 1 run move. I don't mind in the bottom half of an inning when 1 run wins the game because you improve your chances to score that 1 run, and that's all you need. In the top half of an inning in extra innings nowadays with the ghost runner, usually you need 2, in my opinion. So I don't love bunting there, but at the same time, JP is not swinging the bat well. He's been scuffling a bit, so I'm okay with it in theory. Another thing I hate, Zephyr John walks Cole Young, I think on 5 pitches, 2-0 to JP, gets a mound visit, does pump a strike in there, and the pitch JP puts in play to bunt is up. And baseball's hard. It is a hard sport, but that's a ball. That's a clear take that pitch, 3-1, and then I'm letting JP swing or get on base and bases are loaded, nobody out. Maybe Zephyr John makes a pitch and he grounds into a double play. I mean, we never know how it's going to play out. But man, and then the bunt was awful, and it was, and of course, like just typical Angels Mariner stuff, the bunt actually gets over the third baseman's head. And I don't blame Ben Williamson there. He's going back to second, think that's going to get caught. And then I was actually amazed that Zephyr John got over there and covered third base. I feel like that's a play where with a pitcher where they rarely cover third, that they would be kind of like, oh man, well, where do I go here? I mean, of course, the Angels could not have played it more perfectly. That never fails when we play. That's what's super annoying about playing the Angels too. It seems that like against us, they're just the most fundamentally sound team you'd ever find in baseball. But the issue there is just the bunt. Okay, like we can have a debate about it. If you're pro bunting there, that's fine. I'm not going to fight you on it. If you're against the bunt, I'm kind of in the same mindset. I don't love it. But the issue is the pitcher's not throwing strikes. He's thrown 7 pitches, 6 of them balls. And the one that you did put in play on a bunt was also a ball that would have put you in a 3-1 count. Julio had a great game yesterday. He did 2 home runs off a pitcher that does not give up home runs. Julio loves hitting in Anaheim. I can't be too mad at Julio, but in the most crucial at bat at the time in the 10th inning, lazy pop-up on, I think, the first or second pitch. Then Cal is scuffling a little bit. It's fair to say it doesn't take away from anything Cal has done this year. It is not. Cal could probably get no more hits the rest of the year, and he'd still absolutely be a team MVP. He has done enough. But, man, like, he looks a little lost up there. Zephyr John kind of had him confused there with the split fastball, and he just froze him on a fastball, and he was sitting on the splitter, feeling a little lost there, it seems like, and just super frustrating because your top of the order has to come through there. This is a good lineup. It is. It's got flaws. This is, again, not saying that this is 27 Yankees murderers row, but those 3 guys need to be getting you at least a run there, especially after Cole Young walks, because that puts you in a tough spot. If you're the home team, it's first and second, nobody out. You know, it makes it a little tougher there with an extra base runner. That's your second run. Cole Young got on base for you. He got you your second run in that situation. And you should feel good about turning over the top of the order, and they couldn't do it. I thought Legumino was fine in the bottom of the 10th. It was just game in Anaheim, CRAP stuff. Yeah, I mean, literally, Ohapi flies out. Maybe with 2 strikes, you'd like to give up a little less hard contact and advance the runner. He walks Lamont Wade. I don't think that's terrible there with a runner at third, less than 2 outs. Worst case is it sets up a double play. Rengifo's on deck, who hits a lot of ground balls. Rengifo chops 1 to third. I don't know why Newman came home on that play, but he did get the out at home. And then Zach Neto with like the weakest walk-off single in the history of sports. 64 exit velo, little blooper gets through. And listen, not take away from Neto, put the ball in play, found a hole, did what he needed to do. I mean, that's baseball. If the Mariners would have won that way, I would have said, hey, put the ball in play, find a way to win it. They did. So I'm being bitter about it. And like also like Cole Young, man, like you're probably not going to get an out there, but at least stop the ball. Like I feel like that's a play where you can at least dive, get on the ball, and at least hold the runners there. It seemed like a play that could have been made from that aspect of it, but of course it kicks off his glove, and that's your ball game. But I mean, if you score a couple runs in the top half of the 10th, if your top of the order comes through the way it should, the little blooper won't kill you. The little bloopers are frustrating to us because this team doesn't do enough behind it or in front of it, however you want to look at it, to have it not matter. Bloops are going to fall in against you. The Mariners are going to drop some bloops in. Love to see one day, but they will. Especially against the Angels, runners in scoring position. Would love to see one. But they will. The goal is, though, you put up enough runs, those bloopers don't hurt you that much, right? Like it's a little bit like the solo home run. You know, you're up 4-5-0. Someone gets in one, it happens. You move on, face the next hitter. So the reason that bloop is frustrating and annoying is because the Mariners couldn't put up a run in the top half of the 10th inning with their top of the order that absolutely should have put up a run. Can we also talk about the umpire? Oh, man, he was awful. Absolutely awful. He completely screwed Brian Wu on a couple pitches in the top half of the 7th that Like, did it cost them the game? No, because Bizzardo comes in and gets out of it, but maybe Wu gives you 6 2/3. Then maybe they go to Legumina in the 7th. Then maybe you have Bizzardo in the 10th and he gets out of it. Legumina wasn't really the problem in the 10th, but you know what I mean? Like, even though it doesn't directly lead to a run, it can impact the game. He screwed Bizzardo on a pitch. Legumina had one to Lamont Wade. One that I'm a little less mad at, but I'll still put in there in the top of the first, when Shawnuel walked and Neto stole second, that pitch was a strike. Now, Cal comes out of his stance to try and throw out Neto. I can at least sympathize where that looked like a ball, to the naked eye. I can see how, and maybe Cal in that first inning should have just framed the pitch, let Neto have second and take the out, because I think if he frames it, you might get that call. So maybe a little bit there where and I get it. Like, it's a bang, bang sport, right? Everything's happening like this. Of course, I'm sure in hindsight, Cal would say, yeah, I probably should just held the pitch and taken the out, but it's a strike, right? The ump's job, regardless of catcher framing, is to get the call right. And he did not. That pitch to Shawnuel was a strike. And he was atrocious. And listen, Wu got a couple calls too. There was one to, I think, Joe Adele that was off the plate, that Cal did do a good job framing that, was called strike 3. So, like, I am not I will say this. I think it's interesting. I'm sure MLB won't, I doubt MLB's watching this video 12 minutes in. I believe the over under on strikeouts for Brian Wu yesterday was 6.5. And the 7th strikeout was the one in that at bat versus Moncada where Wu got hosed on 2 pitches. I mean, if we're going to investigate that pitcher from Cleveland because he threw 2 really weird sliders in the dirt and that led to people winning money, then I'm sorry. I mean, and that's fine, right? I get it. Players should not be in on a take. And if that's the case, he should be, out of the league or whatever the punishment is. I don't know. But man, umpires need to be looked at too. I'm sorry. They absolutely do. Like, and I mean, the fact that we treat them from baseball, like, well, it's like they make mistakes, but a pitcher throws a terrible slider, he's in on the take. I'm sure there's more evidence. I'm being salty. I get it. But that is super, super frustrating. And just very odd that I believe, and I'm not like, maybe I'm wrong in that. I saw someone post it, so it could, maybe it's not true, but 6.5 seems like probably about where that over under would be for Brian Wu strikeouts. So I'd like to see if that ump has a FanDuel account or something like that and find out what's happening there. So again, I don't think it's the reason the Mariners lost the game. They had ample opportunities to add on in that 10th inning and throughout the game and couldn't do it. So it's not so much a loss. It's just, I question some of these umpires. Let's get into the box score here. Brian Wu, again, it's quality start, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 2 walks, 6 Ks. A little bit of a shaky start, giving up the 2 runs in the first was kind of frustrating, but settled in. Another quality start, 20th consecutive starts of 6 innings or more for Brian Wu. Just continues to get it done. Probably would have gone further into this game without the ump. Just absolutely sensational from Brian Wu, doing it again. It's a shame they couldn't get him a couple more runs. Bizzardo just continues to be a dude, even not getting a call, throws a shutout inning with 2 strikeouts. Brash with a good 8th, and Munoz much, much better in that 9th inning with a couple strikeouts. Those 3 guys do their job. Truly, the bullpen was fine. Even Legumina, again, a fly out and advances the runner and kind of a little bleeder that gets through. I mean, that is baseball sometimes. I'm not wild on Casey Legumina. I do think the Mariners obviously need another relief pitcher at the deadline. But like, that outing is not the one I'm going to put on the PowerPoint for why Legumina should be, off the roster there. I do think Jose Soriano threw the ball well. I like, not giving the offense a pass, but Soriano's good. His issue is that he can get a little wild and walk some guys. When he's dotting that sinker 97, 98 on the black, it's going to be a long day. He has good stuff. Like, that is a good starting pitcher the Mariners faced yesterday. He can be inconsistent for sure. But he is good. He threw the ball legitimately well. The issue is just kind of the Mariners not getting anything done past that, essentially, is the frustration. And they did have some opportunities with runners on where, someone bloop one in there. Like Cole Young had an at-bat with runners, I think, on 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs. Like, just can someone bloop one in there, get a couple runs on the board? Couldn't get it done. I was wrong. I thought Cole Young might be sent down for Josh Naylor. Miles Mastroboni was optioned. I just thought it was going to be tough with everybody there, how they're going to figure out the playing time a little bit. It looks like Luke Raley may just kind of be coming off the bench a little bit right now. So I'm fine with it. I'm not mad that Cole Young is still up. I want to be clear on that. It wasn't like they should be doing this. I just thought they might go Polo at second and kind of let the roster play out that way. I will say I was kind of right. A lot of people are saying Dylan Moore, Solano. I didn't think they were going to do that. I wouldn't worry too much about little roster moves till after the deadline either. I think they're going to do a lot of shuffling. There was a report that came out that they're shopping Dylan Moore. I actually do think you could get something from Demo for a team that needs a utility guy that's in the race. So this roster is probably going to look a lot different in a week. On August 1st, we can really look at how it shapes up. Until then, there's just going to be some shuffling. And I'm sure they're sitting there going, listen, we got Naylor coming in. What's the roster move? Well, we can DFA Solano. I mean, who knows? Maybe you trade Solano. I don't think he has a ton of value, but maybe if you eat half the contract, you can send him to a team that's desperate for a right-handed hitting first baseman, and you get some cash back. Or I don't know how it works, but you get something, or you just eat half the salary and they take Solano, something like that. But that's why I think until then, you're just going to see like, hey, this guy's just going to be optioned. We keep everybody on the roster, and then we'll sort it out on August 1st or July 31st. And after the deadline. So I wouldn't read too much into it. But I was wrong on that. Just wanted to admit that it was a bit of a bold prediction, but I will say I'll give myself like a 10% credit because I was right that they didn't get rid of Demo or Solano yet. Doesn't mean they won't. Offensively, Mariners put up 6 hits, just 2 walks. Honestly, outside of Julio, nobody really doing anything today. Julio with 2 home runs, again, off a guy that doesn't give up any home runs. Incredibly impressive. Julio loves hitting in Anaheim, and man, if we can just get Julio a little dialed in at home, this team is going to have a chance to definitely go places. JP was 0 for 5. JP's got to get going a little bit, whether it's getting more walks. He doesn't seem to be as patient. He's been more aggressive. It's like he's trying to swing his way out of a slump instead of just being what he is. JP's OPS now below Julio's on the season, and JP's still been fine. Like if the season ended yesterday and that was JP's season, he's done a nice job for the team with the bat for sure, but they got to get him going a little bit because they need that table setter at the top to get on base for Julio in a hot streak. Naylor, Cal, all those guys. Like I said, Julio 2 for 5, the 2 home runs. Would have loved to see like something in that 10th inning to really make a good day, an amazing day, but just couldn't quite do it. Cal was 1 for 5, had a base hit. Cal scuffling there. Not necessarily a day off needed because he just had one, but need Cal to get going a little bit. Josh Naylor, 1 for 4. Funny that he struck out twice. You bring in a guy with like one of the lowest strikeout rates in baseball. Puts on a Mariner uniform, immediately strikes out 2 times. It's fine. Like Naylor left Pittsburgh at like 4 a.m. and got in early. Probably didn't get any sleep. First game with a new team's got to be like, hey, try to put on a little bit of a show for your new team. So, but then had a nice base hit off the lefty. I think it was Brock Burke later in the game, or was it might have been Detmers, I'm not sure, but got a base hit off of him. Actually wonder maybe they do give Naylor an off day today just with everything he went through at the deadline, lefty on the mound. I do wonder if maybe you just kind of give him today, rest up a little bit, and then get him back in there tomorrow. Randy was 1 for 3. Polanco, tough day, 0 for 4. Dom was 0 for 3 with a walk. Ben Williamson, 0 for 4. Ben needs you to put some of those classic opposite field base hits in there. He had an at-bat where he's up 3-1 in the count. I forgot who's against, and he swings at a pitch that is like, he's like got the bat up here trying to get the hits. Like, dude, Ben, come on, man. Cole Young, actually not a bad day. 1 for 3 with a walk. Cole Young on base twice. I feel like we're saying that a lot more recently about Cole Young, just kind of quietly on base a couple times. He set that table in that 10th inning, couldn't get it done. Listen, still got a chance to win a series. I would have more faith that the Mariners went across town and played the Dodgers and faced 9 Shohei Ohtanis than playing the Angels. It's just been a nightmare. If the Mariners hit in this ballpark, their pitching fails. They pitch well, they can't hit. I mean, it's just been a nightmare. So like from that aspect, I'm nervous. But if we just want to take a step back, still win this series, Kirby and Gilbert going, I keep saying you feel good, but then sometimes these guys let me down. Tyler Anderson's okay, but you can hit him. Hendricks isn't great. He goes tomorrow. You've gotten through the Angels' best 2 starters and you split with them. So, you'd certainly like to win Wu versus Soriano. You feel like you've got the matchup advantage, but it's also not like some, unforgivable that you didn't win that game. The way it happened, is frustrating, but hopefully they can bounce back. Got a chance to win this series. It'll be a tough series coming up next against the A's. I don't know if you guys saw Nick Kurtz yesterday, 6 for 6 with 4 home runs. That A's offense is going to be tough, and it's going to be hot in Sacramento. You can probably have Logan Evans going to that series, so be not nice if you could win a couple here and get the party going a little bit and extend that wild card lead. It's just going to come down the last week of the season for the wild card. The Mariners are probably going to stick around a little bit in the division. We'll see. And then the wild card just going to come down the final week. It's the destination. The journey is going to be this windy road, and they're going to have 5-game win streaks where we go, they're a lock. They're going to lose a series to the Angels. We're going to say they're done. They're going to go to Sacramento, face a red hot A's offense, shut them down and sweep them. It's just going to be wild. I mean, I should just come back in September. We'll talk playoffs if they're in, because this team is a nightmare on a day-to-day basis. I don't mean that like the team itself is a nightmare, but they're one of the more frustrating teams, I think, to talk about on a nightly basis, just because, man, they can look like a World Series contender, and then they can look like a team that I'm convinced is going to miss the playoffs by a game. Have a great night, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, go Mariners. Peace.